come January, recreational use of weed is going to be legal.
I almost cheered for that.
We're starting. I figure we should start this discussion because we have a month before it happens, and maybe we can get
couple
some.
Of months.
What was the last time you smoked some weed, Chevelle?
I don't even remember.
When was the last time you did, Todd?
Never.
Okay. However,
I have tried it.
If there is this one thought. I've never personally used this stuff either, and I don't have any plans to, even if it becomes legal. But they say that it mellows people out, right? So it'll be interesting to see what happens if this becomes legal and more people start using it. Will we actually see a rapid decline in the amount of violence, gun violence, and other types of violence?
You think daylight savings would good for 7-Eleven? Wait till weed starts legal.
Oh my goodness!
It'll be a $50 billion industry. It'll be 7-Eleven on every block.
I mean, yeah, the government may have actually found a way to solve your problem without having to take away anybody's guns, Todd.
And then there's this preemptive strike that Jack in the Box has made with their munchie boxes.
It would also be interesting. Yeah, it would also be interesting to note. It would be interesting to see if our subscribership goes up after the proliferation of the
weed.
Yeah, of the weed. Exactly.
It will after January 1st when we have our first official high show where we get on the air and I'll smoke out.
I don't think Joe's a fan of that idea.
No,
I don't know that I
not
can
at
do that.
It's totally legal.
All right, I'm going to put all my business out there. I have tried it. I was thoroughly disappointed.
Really?
So the thing is, if you've watched all the movies, if you watched the Cheech and Chong, if you watched Dazed and Confused, if you watched any of
Todd,
those
do you
movies,
even know who Cheech and Chong were? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean they've made comebacks like 12 times now, haven't they?
Wasn't it that guy? He was on that '70s show.
Yeah, Tommy Chong.
Yes, he was.
Tommy Chong.
But I mean, if you watch any of those movies and then you go and smoke weed, I was extremely disappointed. There were no floating butterflies, no rainbows or leprechauns. The music basically got too loud, and I fell asleep.
It's not LSD.
Well, it was. I mean, that's what they like. When,
You've been watching Reefer Madness or something.
No, it was. And it costs too much. Well, I mean, I guess it'll be cheaper, but I don't buy cigarettes either, so that doesn't really apply to me. They're going to tax the heck out of it if they're smart.
Wow, do you guys realize that on this show tonight we have covered sex, guns, and drugs all on the same show tonight?
Yep.
It's the coolest show we've ever done.
Yeah.
You got to make sure you put porn in the title somewhere now, so we get a whole bunch of people to watch.
Sex and drugs and guns.
That's probably enough right there.
Merica.
Actually, you don't have to.
Exactly.
Put porn in there. Just
live long in gun control.
I did that just for Todd.
look at him. He's starting to smoke again, and he's not even got any weed.
Man. Well, one of the other interesting things about this, because I mean, there's obviously the benefit to the users, the people who want to partake recreationally.
The glaucoma
side
of the,
yes, all the
besides
people who are,
the medicinal purposes.
It's already been it's been legal for medicinal since like '95 or something like that, hasn't it? They've been talking about it.
Yeah, well, they've tried in some form or other to legalize
it. Allowed now, but the
federal government still doesn't
recognize
that as being legal.
The feds aside, they can't handle anything.
Well, what are they going to do when it's recreational?
They don't do anything
recreationally
now.
acceptable.
If a person is violating federal law, they can get taken for whatever reason.
But you have to have a X amount of the.
Not for the Fed.
And Liam Neeson
for the
has
Fed,
to do
if you've
it?
got a grow farm, you're in violation of federal law.
Well, yeah, that's because again, you have more than a small amount. You have a rather large amount of the substance.
But the thing that there's like these other supplemental industries that are going to come up around it because there's like testing labs that test the potency of it for these different strains, particularly for the medical stuff because they sell the oils and all that other stuff. That's like a whole industry. You've got delivery, which is an industry. So I guarantee you Uber's going to jump in on the weed. You'll have like little Uber symbols with the weed symbol in them.
Forget that. What about those little guys running around with the ice cream carts?
Yeah, see, here's the thing I'm worried
about. You could just pick up some weed from that guy?
Because during this transition, the thing that I'm kind of concerned about is, like, you hear about pizza guys getting knocked over for money.
Uh-huh.
What happens when you're like the Uber driver delivering somebody's weed and you're getting like knocked over by some dude who's just trying to get high cheaper or something? I see that as
everybody's
a danger.
going to have that little square thing on their phone. They're not going to be carrying
I think
huge bales of cash.
That's it. We got to start our own service right now.
Yeah, they might just jack the weed.
I've got a plan. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to pool all of our money together. We're going to buy a bunch of armored cars, and instead of Uber, we're going to call ourselves Reefer.
Well, and then the other side of it is like somebody's got to deliver. Somebody has to deliver the weed from the farm to the dispensaries, though. And
Again, this is a good time to invest in armored cars. I'm telling you guys, we need to get in on this right now.
yeah, we can buy more guns.
There you go. You'd have an excuse to have the gun because you need to protect the weed that you're
See?
transporting.
This is
Suddenly,
making sense.
Todd is thinking having a gun's not so bad
And
after all.
If
we
I
got to
get into
protect
this
our
business,
profits.
If I get into the business, I will need to protect myself from the government.
Will you?
Yes, I will.
Because the feds will still come after you.
Yes, I
if you're
will.
making money.
I thought you just said they won't do anything.
mean,
No,
Here-
I mean they
this is interesting.
can. I didn't say they won't.
They're going
I said they
to
probably won't.
legalize the use of marijuana, and the government has already gone after the sanctuary cities. So what's going to happen when you become a free use state?
Well, see, this is part of my problem with a lot of the laws that we have. Like, I'm not even a fan of the gang enhancement laws. I'm not a fan of hate crime laws. I'm not a fan of any of those. If somebody attacks you, it's already a crime. I don't think you need to augment it. I think you should just persecute them with the actual crime.
Yeah, but see, you're missing what I'm getting at. I'm curious to see what's going to happen. Is the federal government going to come after these states? Because I
don't think so, because those states are going to pay the money to
that's
the
what
federal
I'm
government.
that's what I'm getting at. Or are they going to turn a blind eye because there's suddenly an increase in tax revenue? Whereas with the illegal alien issue, they don't seem to consider that a profitable tax base.
That's just a drain on funds.
Yeah, it always does come down to
Prosecuting
money.
them.
But then the other side
Or
of
as
it
Chevelle
is...
said, persecuting them.
Yeah, exactly.
The other side of this, though, is that it is one of the tools that the federal government may use to go after organizations that they don't like. So if you have an organization that is one of these pro-weed organizations and say they lean a certain political way or the other, then they become a target by a federal government. I'm probably the one guy, I don't know why this sticks so strong in my mind, but I just remember when ATF went in and burned down David Koresh's farm. I still don't know what he did that was wrong.
So, but wait a minute. So what you're saying is we need to start a grow operation, sell lots, take some of the profit and donate it to a charity. So we could start like Drugs for Kids or something.
I think you kind of came up with that on your own. But I'm not.
But then the federal government will leave us alone because we're donating.
They're not going to leave you alone because it
Oh
always
my
comes
God,
down
where's
to what they want.
that disclaimer can't come fast enough.
You know what? Here's the thing. I think the thing that's going to make the federal government the angriest, the fastest, is we're cutting into their market. Because the federal government has been funding the drug war.
There's that whole conspiracy
side. It's not a
side.
conspiracy. They've already released the documents. It's fact.
Okay.
That stuff gets into the U.S. because they let it get into the U.S. Hell, they're delivering it half the time.
I saw that Tom Cruise movie.
Well,